actual planning of the project, such as like we think that in 2 years for implementing a fully strong AI able to empathize and understand emotions is a bit of a far-fetched. We still think that the reasoning was interesting and the application was there, and their point got across, we think, quite well. So yeah, congratulations to them. All right, so before we start with today's battle, hands up if you want to come for dinner. I'm just like looking for a quick head count. Okay. Really?
7:30.
Is this a ministry gathering? I mean,
is it the 7:30?
7:30 is reasonable. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Nobody else?
They said.
Okay, 7, 8. Here, nobody missed? Okay, 8. So
Okay, we have 9.
Okay, 12. Okay. Right, that's
taking way too long.
No. Look, I'm stepping out, booking the place, then I write the address here. Okay. So everybody's on the same.
So we do for 15.
So we book for 20 because we also have that for us 15. Okay. Good. All right. So today's battle. Do you want to introduce a scenario then? Okay.
So, hi everybody. I will present today's scenario, and I will start with bad news for you. Elon Musk has died 2 weeks ago on 21st of November. By the way, it's not true. I mean, it's a scenario. So, for those of you who doesn't know who is Elon Musk, well, Elon Musk is the CEO of Tesla and also of SpaceX and other companies. I will not go into the details because the other teams will explain more about him. But since we assume that since he has died, all his plans and ideas has died together with him. So if we continue with this scenario now, imagine yourself in a very distant future. It's year 4000.
40,000.
40?
For 40,000.
Oh, 40. Okay, so it's very distant future. Some research team, they somehow found his DNA and they replicate him. So now in the future we have a breathing, living copy of Elon Musk. And this research team, they start speaking to him, some kind of interviews, to understand who he was, how was the life in our time, who he was, what was his achievements and all this stuff. But after a while, some of the members of the research team, they start to have doubts whether he's actually telling the whole truth, or maybe he's overestimating his achievements. So the research team kind of splits into groups. So one thinks that he's telling the truth, and the other one thinks that maybe he's telling too much about himself, that it's not he's lying, but he's overestimating it. So they both start to dig into the past archives, reading articles about him to find the proofs of their theories. So basically, one team will represent the part that say that he was a real innovator, entrepreneur, visionary, and the second one is saying that he was a fraud. So I think that's kind of it. Yeah. So the main question was here: visionary or fraud? So I will give space to teams.
Okay. Thank you. So the idea is we have.
Hi everyone, my name is Mariam, and today I'm going to show you guys who Elon Musk is and how he was an extraordinary human being. Let's start with a little fun fact. I'm sure everyone in this room knows who this guy is. He's Tony Stark from Iron Man. And in the years 2000,
Can you speak up because here I don't hear.
Okay. In the years 2000, people on Earth literally idolized him, and most of them wanted to be him as well. So guess what? Who was the real life, living, breathing Iron Man? Yeah, it's Elon Musk. He's the real life superhero, and by the end of this presentation, you guys will know why. From a very young age, he was very interested in and inspired by comic books and sci-fi books and movies in general. And he really took inspiration from these superheroes who always wanted to or were saving the world. So he kind of made that into his mission or goal in life to save humans or help humans in one way or another. So all of his companies and all of his ventures are centered around this one goal. And we're going to see in a little bit. But let's start at the beginning. He was born in South Africa. He had a really rough childhood. He was bullied a lot and he was like an introverted kid. At the age of 12, he sold a programming game for $500. Then he moved abroad to Canada and then later States for his. Okay.
You will be official, huh? TEDx talk.
Great idea.
Okay.
Good. Hold it.
Okay. So he moved out of South Africa to Canada and then the States for his education. And he did his college in the States, which he, by the way, aced. He then enrolled in a PhD program in Stanford, which he dropped out of on the very first day because it was the time of the internet boom. And he didn't want to sit outside and look at it happening. He wanted to be a part of it. So that's when he dropped out of college and he founded the company Zip2, which faced a lot of criticism at that time, but we're going to talk about that later. He eventually sold it for $341 million to Compaq, and from which he earned $22 million. Later, he founded a company called X.com, which eventually evolved into PayPal, and which was then sold to eBay for $1.5 billion, from which he earned $165 million. After this, he started working more on his mission or goal in life, and he started the company SpaceX, Tesla, Solar City, Hyperloop, and all these companies basically before he died in 2017. We're going to start with SpaceX because this company shows how he was a real innovator, and it really shows his extreme entrepreneurial streak. When he started SpaceX, he knew that people would think that it was a crazy idea, but he also knew that, and this was really important, so I put it all on the slide, he knew that if something wasn't done, the future of space would just be stuck where it was. Space industry would be stuck where it was, which was basically in a dump. And all the companies at that time weren't doing anything, and they were not interested at all in radical innovation. They were just little by little improving their existing model. So he created SpaceX, and he completely disrupted the entire space industry because it was the first private aerospace manufacturer and space transportation service provider, which had basically three main goals. First was reduced cost of space travel. Second was reusable launch system, and I'm going to talk about that later. And third was interplanetary travel. People usually wonder how SpaceX is earning money, and it's very interesting because all of their money usually goes into research and development and experimentation. So they have multiple contracts with NASA. One of them is for commercial grade supplies to the International Space Station, and the second one is to launch rockets into orbit. Just a few facts about SpaceX. It was the first private company to land rockets, to land rockets in the space orbit, the orbit of the Earth, and the International Space Station. It did the first landing of the orbital rocket's first stage, which is basically, previously it used to be discarded in outer space, which contributed to space garbage as well. This was a major breakthrough because nobody on Earth was basically doing this. So this was like a big example of disruptive radical innovation which he did, and it was a really big deal on Earth. And there are just a few clips of the landings and takeoffs. So basically, SpaceX was radical innovation at its highest peak. Moving on to Tesla. Another goal of Elon Musk was to accelerate the transition into sustainable energy. And Tesla and Solar City did exactly that. It was the first electric car-only company. They provided energy storage solutions and solar panel manufacturing. Just some facts about Tesla. First of all, it completely disrupted the automotive market because at that time, America especially was addicted to gasoline cars, let's say, or oil, and it tried its best to literally change the mindset of those people and bring them out of that oil addiction. So, and secondly, in just a fact that in the 2008 financial crisis, Tesla was literally drowning. Elon Musk saved the company by investing his own money in the company, and that shows how much he was invested and how much he believed in this idea, in the concept of Tesla and also sustainable energy. Model S was the world's best-selling plug-in car, and it partners with a lot of big companies. This is a picture of the stock of Tesla till the day he died, Elon Musk. Now, I want you to notice that despite having a negative net income, the stock continuously rises over the years. And even though there are dips, it still rises again, and it keeps rising. And it kept rising until the day he died. Moving on to more newer advancements and newer concepts and ventures, it's Hyperloop and the Boring Company are a very innovative solution to a problem that we face every day, which is traffic. Hyperloop is, the concept is having an underground or even over the ground network of tunnels which will have really fast moving vehicles, which makes you avoid the traffic generally on the road. It's a new and fast way of traveling with minimum accidents. The Boring Company goes hand in hand with Hyperloop because it enhances the tunnel living speed, and it also has a feasibility on Mars side, which will help dig huge underground cities on the planet, like really fast. Elon Musk also believed in grabbing the opportunity as it comes to you. He was a really smart man, and he knew how and when to exploit a technology. He was very invested into artificial intelligence and genetics, and so he started OpenAI. OpenAI was basically to promote and develop friendly artificial intelligence. It was the purpose was the democratization of artificial intelligence, which means that AI does not get concentrated in the hands of one individual or a couple of individuals. It's accessible to everyone. Because it gets concentrated with one person or a couple of persons, it gets dangerous. The next venture is Neuralink, which is basically the interface between brains and computers, and it aims at solving or basically reducing the effects of neurodegenerative diseases like dementia. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is his mission on Mars, and before that, I'm going to show you a few statistics of Earth from 2017. In 60 years, the humans had polluted the planet more than they had 10,000 years before. Carbon dioxide levels were at historic highs, and the loss in biosphere integrity meant that species were getting extinct 100 times faster. Climate change was real, and everybody agreed with it, everybody knew it. And things were changing at such a fast pace that human beings could not follow or evolve at the same speed. So there were a lot of ideas, obviously sustainable energy and stuff. Elon Musk came up with this really out of the box or extraordinary or very different idea of making humans multi-planet species. And this wasn't just big talk in the air. He was actually working on it. The company SpaceX was working on fuel tanks, on engine testing, propulsive landing on the planet, the BFR development, which is basically the big fucking rocket. That's the actual name. It's the rocket that was gonna transfer humans to Mars. And they actually had the complete transport architecture and plan made for the humans to go to Mars and then live there. So basically, like said at the beginning of the presentation, all of his ventures and all of his companies revolved around his one goal of saving humans or helping humans. Like every visionary or extraordinary person, which is usually misunderstood by normal people, he also faced a lot of criticism. I'm going to start with an example of Zip2 when he made that company. It was basically a way of transforming the yellow pages into an online model, like giving an online presence to local businesses. And when he went to sell this idea to an investor, he literally threw that book, the Yellow Pages book, at him, and he said, "You think anything can replace this?" And he did, and then he actually sold that company for $22 million. The same happened with SpaceX. When he talked about reusing a space vehicle or bringing back down the first stage of a rocket, people said that's impossible. Well, he made it possible, and it's actually happening right now. So basically, he went against all odds to prove people wrong. Because he was an extraordinary person with a great vision and an extremely great entrepreneurial streak, and basically he was a very creative person, and basically an awesome human being, and the real life Iron Man, not to forget. So I think that we should continue the research on this civilization based on this amazing person. Thank you very much.
And thank you for being here. I'd like to show you some slides and to tell you some considerations about Elon Musk and why he should be a fraud. First of all, I totally agree with the previous group. He definitely is a visionary. But first we need to consider what visionary means. From his fun days, Elon Musk has been defined an innovator, an inventor, and a visionary. Etymology comes in our help because visionary is defined as a person who indulges in impractical fantasies. So we need to consider whether or not he is a visionary in the practical or impractical sense. And again, etymology comes to our side because practical is a word that comes from Greek, practicos, which means fit for action, fit for business. Let's consider whether or not he is fit for business. These are the net incomes of Tesla Motors, a company of Elon Musk. As you can see clearly, the income is never positive. He has always been losing money from 2008 to 2016, despite what Mr. Musk has been saying to us. His companies were burning money instead of producing anything. Tesla Motor, is probably one of his most successful companies, but the company was losing averagely $8,000 per minute. And Mr. Musk was very smart because his company produced cars, and then instead of selling them to customers, the very same company purchased its own products to manipulate sales figures. That's why the profit of unit product is always negative. They keep losing money for every car they produce. Do you think he is fit for business if he keeps burning money? I think he's not. Without considering that whenever he announces a new project, the project is very often produced and shipped with years or months of delay. Would you ever invest in a person who is late on projects such important? I'll leave a question to you. So, there are two other companies Elon Musk does possess. One is SpaceX, the company which produces rockets and is one of the most important aerospace manufacturers. But what the other group has not been saying is that the reuse of landed missiles is limited, up to now less than 50%. It means that in case the missile does not explode and does land, maybe it can be reused. Moreover, Elon Musk has been selling space travels to companies without even being able to provide the required missiles. And again, just to repeat myself, he's late on the delivery of projects. In this case, even years. He delayed more than one project for more than a year. And he was projecting to successfully complete a project that involved bringing the first mission to Mars within 2020. However, the first announcement was within 2018. Since he died, we do not know whether or not it did success. The third company I would like to talk about is SolarCity, which is the one experiencing bigger troubles, because SolarCity was near to bankrupt and was bought by Tesla Motors and SpaceX. Its bankrupted stocks have been bought and the company has been forcibly kept alive. However, Musk was getting ready to shut it down, and you might wonder why was he planning to shut it down. Well, this diagram shows it clearly. The expected megawatts per acre kept decreasing every year. The CEO of SolarCity was expecting to deliver more than 250 megawatts per acre by the start of 2016. However, they were barely able to accommodate 200 megawatts per acre. And don't be fooled, the line is descending. Now, he has been, he kept alive the almost added company, which is SolarCity. He has been investing and spent money in SpaceX and Tesla Motors. And you may wonder, where do those money come from? It is easy to see, and there are reports about this. Those money come from US government and Denmark. The states investing subsidies in his industries. This means that while his companies keep burning money and producing almost anything, almost nothing, contributors and taxpayers do pay. This is a list, a brief list, only for year 2015 of the subsidies they have been receiving. You see, Nevada taxpayers have been paying $1,290,000,000 just because he is involved in green economy and renewable technologies. However, we need to consider whether or not these subsidies do function. Do they serve a purpose? They do when they are present. In 2015, in Denmark, Tesla sold 2,738 cars, the big green solid block on the left. When the government decided to cut subsidies, the sellings did fall, and 94% less with respect to the previous year, a vertical drop. So, what is the legacy of Elon Musk? According to us, it is three failing companies, a lot of money burned, and unfeasible technologies developed. Thank you for your attention.
Profit and things like that. They got incentives from the government. For the Tesla Motors, they just repaid the whole debt which was got with the interest to the government. I don't know whether you know it or not. So, do you agree? Like, why should a government fund a company just for namesake millions of dollars? So that is my question.
They pay only the 2013
Can you speak up?
they repaid only the 2013 contribution.
Yeah.
Only the 20.
Yeah, when the product sells, when he gets the funds, he gives it back to the government with the interest. That's the deal, right?
Every year
He got it as a loan, which has some term to repay.
Yes, but every year they get money by the US. They only repay until the 2013.
So
Every
I
year
think
they
it's
get.
good if you stand up, both of you, the two people.
Every year, Tesla Motors get foundation by the US to produce the car, but they paid only until the 2013 year.
Yeah, so they still owe money for like
you get a loan.
2014.
Yeah, but you
get
repay the
education
loan
loan,
with
for
another
example.
loan, and you keep
Just
going and
just
losing.
example, you get an education loan for 5,000 euros, and what if you are asked to pay within 2 years? Will you do it? That's my question.
Yeah, I have 5,000 a year.
Within 2
I
years.
take another loan and I pay.
That's what he's That's what he's doing.
And who knows?
What's the wrong in it? What's the wrong in it?
What's the?
Like, you cannot repay in 2 years. How can a person investing millions of dollars can repay in 2 years?
I have a question. I don't know do you know the pounds schema? I don't know. If you at first they give you very good well above the average returns, then more people want to invest in this program. There's so many people invest in this program. Then someone need money. Then someone withdraw the money from this program. But it's you will get the well above the average returns. So many people will invest in this program. Do you know that?
Actually, I didn't get you.
Okay. Do you know the pound schema? Like a bigger.
The Ponzi.
Yeah, I can sign the back.
Do you know how this works? Okay.
I think the technology dream, like rock dream and Tesla, this is the big dream of the well above the average returns. Is same to the. I mean this word.
Sorry, just as a step back, because some people might not know the terminology. Is somebody here able to explain really quickly what a Ponzi scheme is?
Related to the Ponzi scam.
Yeah, the Ponzi scam, also known as.
So it was like you take money from people, people make deposits with Ponzi, and they promise to double their money, that kind of thing, and he kind of ran away with their money.
So, yeah, in some way, as it was explained, is that people said to this Ponzi, this is the original scam, well, send me your money and I will invest and double it, okay? So what he did is he gathered all this money and then kind of run away with it. Even more, a slightly more sophisticated version of this works by saying, well, send me your money and I'll double it. You send me your money and I only double those that give me small amounts of money so that it looks like I'm reputable and I'm keeping up to my commitments, but then I run away with all the rest. So you tell me, like, you give me 5 and I give you 10 back. Then you give me 200 and I run away with 200. This is the idea, okay?
What was the question?
It's a good business, huh?
Okay, I just want to point out something. Okay, we just reported some statistics about this finance, how it's going. But don't you think that maybe he would, his primary goal was to become a rich guy? Maybe he didn't invest in these rockets, electric motor cars, companies, something like that. I think we should focus on the fact that his main goal is to save humans. He knows, he cares a lot about the environment, he knows the pollution, he knows the statistics about how's going our planet, and probably he knows that the only solution for us is to become an interplanetary species. So he's actually trying to do his best to reach his primary goal. And this is something that goes against the main lobbies, like the oil lobby, and it's not easy to become successful in a market like that. But he's actually trying to do his best. And about SpaceX, I would like to add something. That he reinvented the process of a rocket, how a rocket is made. Because for the other companies, buy the different pieces of the rocket and put them together. So there's different fuels that are used to rocket, and it's cost a lot. He showed how reinventing the process, he could save a lot of money, making them interconnectable, using only one fuel, power fuel, and well, those are real facts. I don't know how just some statistical point, financial statistics can say that he's a fraud.
I just like to add.
So I think that the argument here, and just two general very comments. Speak up higher if you can, because otherwise people can't hear you across the room. And try to end every question with a question mark and make it like 2 sentences, okay? Otherwise it gets dragged on. I think, for those who might not have heard, I think the main point that was made is that, well, yes, you have showed that some financial arguments for which he is a fraud, or you argue that he is a fraud, but you have not denied his visions. You have just denied his financial sustainability. Was this the point? Okay, good. Sorry.
And if you cannot speak up, take the microphone.
Yeah, if you cannot speak up, just grab the mic.
Can I answer this?
Of course. Well, I mean, if the team answers it, it's better.
Okay. Like, I think we agree on that. Okay. So what we're saying is the problem is we can judge only from like his real achievements, and actually he didn't achieve anything. I cannot speak.
No, stand up.
Okay.
Maybe that helps.
Okay, we can actually judge him from his real achievements, and I think he didn't achieve anything since he died. So we can basically see he had a lot of ideas, like go to Mars, or like let's read people's mind by artificial intelligence and all this stuff. But what if I say like, okay, let's save the humanity and go to the space, space station and live there? Am I a visionary? Am I like that brilliant? No, that's not a new idea. So I think we need to judge a person not by his ideas, but by his actions, and he didn't actually do anything. I mean, he only made a lot of ideas.
Yeah, because we're talking about a lot of time in the future, so we can just look at facts, number. So the fact that he used SpaceX, he tried to, I never seen him try to.
Did he send any person on Mars? No, he didn't. He just been dreaming about it.
You saw the video.
Well, yeah, if you want to have a review,
first of all, fortunately, I'm a team member here now, so I can't speak up. According to their presentation, they said he failed a lot, he did a lot, and all of his projects are failure or something like that because he spent a lot of money on and this kind of things. Okay. Let's go reverse to some scientists who are trying to prove the theory of evolution or disapprove the theory of evolution. What is the outcome from this kind of research? Actually, they spend a lot of money to prove or disapprove this idea. So what is the outcome of this idea? Otherwise, the Elon Musk person, he was trying to give something to the humanity, which is, we have to create cars without any kind of pollution. We have to create some parts of the space rockets or something like that, and we can reuse it. Just imagine how many rockets established by the spacecrafts or the space rockets manufacturers they launched outside this planet. A lot. Guess what? Also, we got a new garbage, which is the space garbage. Okay, the space garbage we have these days, it's a very, very critical point. It can destroy our planet because we have a space garbage. Another point, this person, he has a visionary to exploit this kind of things, which is the reusing. So he is planning to prove something, and he's planning to improve something, unless or despite of the money that he will spend.
And
this is the point.
Add one thing to this. He's not just planning to do this; he's actually doing this. There's living proof of bringing first stages back and reusing already used rockets. It's not just big talk in the air.
Space shuttle was reusable.
Yeah.
Not all of them. We have a concept right now, which is
no. Space shuttles were not reusable.
Okay.
So
I have another point about the Tesla cars. The Tesla cars. Actually, we read an article. It was published before 2 months. Now, the Tesla cars, it generates a lot of money. It has its own market, and there's a charging point inside the Trento. So this is a good sign for distributing the Tesla cars and the successful inside the market.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's take a question, and then we go back to question and answer a bit more. Okay.
Question of observation about what the.
Does it end with a question mark? Huh? Does it end with a question mark? Then let's keep it for later. Next. Okay, any questions?
There was not a raised hand, but there were no questions and comments.
You had a question? You had? No, I can keep it for later because it doesn't end with the question.
Yes, definitely.
Question
For them.
How many rockets Elon Musk, the SpaceX company, can really reuse? How many of them?
What do you mean, how many?
How many?
Because you said also the others are not all of them.
Or how many have they actually done?
They build the rockets, the rocket can recome to the Earth, and they reuse them. How many?
How many times you mean? How many times? We are not the R&D team with him, so we can't say that it's reusable, but we don't know how much yet. Yet to be
We launched a rocket.
June 2009.
I guess it's a role. It's something that is in evolution. It's not complete, so we cannot see that the rocket he can travel 30 times up and down from Earth to Mars.
No, I made
Okay, may I answer you?
They actually reuse it.
Now they reuse
how many times? So because if they trade 100 times and only one of them is coming back, there is a problem.
No, when you start doing something, obviously you do trial and error. It's not like you're gonna try to land it and it's gonna land.
Okay, by now it's 100% reusable. All the rockets you launch.
Sorry?
All the rockets you launch now are 100% reusable.
Yeah.
All of them.
Okay, well, so let's take a question, another question.
Okay. I'm going to say that the version they tried and they did landed with only single thruster was Falcon 9. So they tried to land Falcon 9 and they did it successfully. They designed Falcon 9 with one single thruster to be up in the earth, out of the earth and back on the earth, landed. Not the one with the parachute in the sea. No, landed by the concept of landing. It was only Falcon 9, but it was 94% successful. So it means they have brought a new concept, which is landing aerospace ships.
Yes. But have you heard that that may be actually a fraud?
Yeah, okay, because we just see videos on YouTube.
Yeah. So nobody is actually sure that it was
Yes, exactly. That can be computer science speaking. That can be reduced to the question if humanity were on the moon by the first attempt of the United States, because everyone said we only saw videos and photos. They cannot send all of us there to see if it's real or not. But if some people, some reasonable people accept it's real, so I guess
but
we
I
must
think
accept
if there are
it.
so many doubts about it, it may be actually not.
I think if a channel like Nat Geo documents it, the whole thing, then it's real.
And NASA is not stupid to have contracts with a company that fails.
Also, the continuous investment. It's
Don't
a big
forget,
sign.
doesn't mean anything.
No, it's a big sign for successful products. It's a big sign for
NASA's a
successful
partner
research.
of SpaceX. What else you expect?
That means that he knows how to speak to public.
Okay, just one second. Let's take a question from here.
NASA's payloads are done by
Okay.
SpaceX.
So let's take a question from there.
For this group, you showed us a lot of figures, but you gave us very little evidence to back all the figures you've given us. We want to see how true these figures are. So if you can give us some reference or something to show us the authenticity of the figures.
Yeah, some of them there have the reference. The statistic.
For instance, one is from Statista, which is a website collecting statistics, especially for the net flow income of Tesla Motors. It has always been negative.
And that's from
That's from a famous statistic
section
collector.
you have to.
Instead, the others speaking about the megawatts per acre are interpolated data extracted from scientific articles which just speak for a portion of each year.
Okay. Some of the scientific articles that they are talking about the failure of Tesla, it's not transparent. We found a lot of papers that are proving these statistics are not transparent, are not real. About your statistics.
You mean they actually get profit?
Really? Yeah, he got profit. It's a big sign. You have a market over the world. It's a big sign that your product is very successul.
By the way, if you have facts that you want to show on screen, just feel free to plug your computer and show them on screen. You're free to do so.
About the statistics are very transparent.
Excuse me, but I think you need to clarify the reference, because if from one side we are seeing the stock exchange from that company, in the Nasdaq trend is always increasing through the time. Yeah, it's different, but still, if you are demonstrated the earned value of every project that is decreasing because the delay of the milestone, that means that in some way the company is handling that risk, because you need to consider that the companies, especially if they are doing researching, they manage risk funds. So you need to handle that, because it's not directly. You cannot assume that if you have a delay in your research project, and that obviously means a loss of money. You cannot assume that it's affecting the entire outcome of the company, because probably there is a risk capital invested on that to control and reduce that risk. So that's why it's not projected in the nested value of the income. So
you have to reflect some lose or loss of money in contrasting to the nested value of the Nasdaq of Tesla. So, you need to be more precise of your references.
You don't need to be more precise because Tesla has angel investors, which is the government. I can be a super entrepreneur with billions of dollars which come from gold wallets.
So,
come on, do that.
Why would you?
Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice.
Our issue. Let's go back to our issue. It is we have to revive somehow the Elon Musk because he's a very innovative or not. So we don't have to look at the money.
Market. He was good at getting money from his politician friends because it is something we know.
That's something really you need to have to be
So he's a very brilliant to gather money, but also he's a very
brilliant.
I don't agree, but I'm continuing.
Just
so the other part, we can't say he's a very innovative person because he has a lot of products. He creates a lot of things. His vision is very wide because he created cars, SpaceX, OpenAI. What else?
What else? You invented.
So we can. Yeah, he invented. He was the responsible to do that.
What exactly? I have a question for you.
Okay.
In case I had infinite money and I invented some new theory which is fancy, for instance, a genetic compiler.
Okay.
Would I be an entrepreneur? Would I be a visionary? Would I?
You have a lot of money. And
in case I had, answer my question. Would I?
You will not, but actually, your question is answered itself. Why? Because you said that I have a lot of money, but I don't have any idea or any science to prove or to make a DNA compiler. But in our case, in Elon Musk, he has money and he has an ideas and he proved it. So your question is negated itself.
He produces unsuccessful projects. He keeps losing money. I can invent anything and then nobody buys it, but I'm clever because I have invented a product.
No, he's inventing a product. Man, NASA, it's not an easy way to make a contract with it. And also with the Denmark government, with the USA government, it's not an easy way to make a contract with it. To take an investment from them.
What we were pointing out is that he's not believable. Denmark is the biggest fan of renewable technology and green energy. However, they stopped believing in him. Otherwise,
they didn't stop.
They did stop.
Why?
Why?
Because he's losing.
No, he's not still losing. He's not still losing.
I can't trust a person who loses.
No, he opened a market in across the world. Just imagine, he opened a market in the Middle East. So what do you imagine? What do you expect from this kind of things? No, he opened a market, that means his product is very successful. Yeah, this is the truth. According to the SpaceX, the failures...
Where do you see the success? In Dubai, where there's oil and everybody's rich?
No, Elon Musk has promised a truck which is physically unfeasible.
The Neurolinks, you say he has an idea.
That's
Okay,
exactly what people said about SpaceX and whatever they're doing right now.
We are referring to all the products that are unsuccessful.
Okay, hold on. Two things. Please, class. Second point. If you speak, please stand up because we can hear you better. Okay? Good. So, there's been a question here, and there was one over here as well. Has it been dropped, or is it your question? Has it been dropped, or no? It's dropped. Okay, so let's go there.
You saying that the statistics they bring are not transparent, and that Tesla is making profit. So I'm asking you if you can provide evidence about what you're saying, if you can provide us some transparent statistics about the profit of Tesla. And I got another.
Look, it's not. Look, he's keeping losing a lot of money because till now, yeah, he has a market and he's producing a lot of cars and he's buying selling a lot of cars. But you know, according to the economic states, you have to reduce the damage before, then he will increase his money. He will get profit after that. So we can't say he's keep losing because he didn't cross the threshold to be a winner or to be a money generator or getter. So this is the point.
So up now it's not making money.
Up to now, he's not making money, but he's reducing the damages. That means he's generating a lot of money now.
Yeah, but
this is the point.
They will reach the zero.
Yeah.
We will zero
Yes.
So what are we talking about? I mean, it's
Ask
like
them.
in the future, they
Ask
might
them.
make
Don't ask us. Ask them. This is the point. Look, we have a lot of car manufacturers across the world. Okay, like Mercedes, like BMW, and many other car producers. They are mimicking his idea. They are producing electric cars also. So that means this is a big sign. This is a big proof that his idea is a
The idea of
great.
electric car is his idea of an electric car.
No, it's not his idea, but he's created. Look, no, they did not observe. They did not observe, or they did not do that before him. That means he's the person who lights the lights before.
No, he's the person who stand on a stage, because in the United States, that's why they do.
Yeah. Okay.
They take a public, they all cheer like a god, and give money to people. That's what they do. That's why he can do it, because he knows how to get money from people.
It's not
the fact that he, the fact that he can save the world with a green thing. He's doing the opposite, because if you keep losing money on this project, people don't give you money for that.
But
so as we see in Denmark,
people
at the start, Denmark give money to Elon Musk. Okay, people start green, everybody happy.
Okay.
As soon as they stop giving money, no more green. Why? Because there's no money.
So why the stock is rising?
Because people keep giving money. The government keep giving money.
Why is that?
Why is that?
Because there's the green ideology. He's gonna save the world.
No, the American government.
A couple of years, maybe people will stop. Denmark stop. Denmark stop giving money.
Okay.
The American government.
No, I just wanted to say, yes, this is the closing, and then we go into the break of 10 minutes. Okay, and then we resume. Just respond.
You said that they've stopped giving subsidies. The way they were giving subsidies was by giving a tax break so they could sell cars. So when they stopped the tax break, the cars stopped selling. So I just Googled it up and they've delayed the tax break for 2 years so that they can start selling cars again. So why is the government doing this if they're so against Tesla and Elon Musk?
He's delaying.
Yeah.
Why it wasn't clear? What did you say? Why?
I said that they've delayed
The payment.
the reduction of the subsidies.
Yes.
Yeah. So why have they
Okay, it's
done that?
delayed and
So
right
that
now.
they can sell more cars within 2 years. For the next 2 years. Yeah.
It's
So
delayed.
they've extended the tax break. Yeah. So why has that government done that? If they're so
Well,
against
it's delayed,
it,
not right now.
No, they have delayed the reduction of the taxes,
But why
which
do
is,
they delay?
she's asking you. Why?
I can ask the same question. Why is not right now?
you said that they are so against Elon Musk that they've stopped the tax break, right? I googled it up and they've delayed the tax break, right? But they're giving the break for another 2 years so that Tesla can sell their cars in Denmark, right? So they're making a partnership for another 2 years. Why?
No, they just looking at how it goes. When I delay something, it's because I want to see what happens.
Yeah, when you take a firm decision once and then you change your mind and delay it.
Yeah, I delay it
Because
because I
of
have to be
reason,
sure
right?
of something.
It's a good reason.
I have to be sure of something.
Okay.
And I delay it.
Yeah, so you're
Okay. I understand that actually what is happening, she's asking why to give the argumentation why the government, so you need to look into this to respond to, and not just by saying, being argumentative in a simple sentence. Okay, so let's stop now, and we come back in 10 minutes. So it would be at 15. Okay.
Okay. So this is a single plan, but it's absolutely minor.
More or less, even if he died, he didn't die 2017.
No, he was simply
Yes,
frozen,
frozen.
then unfrozen in 40,000. Okay. Sorry. Like Captain America. Yeah, that's the way of doing it. I mean, he's Iron Man, but whatever. Before we restart the debate, two more things. First, keep in mind that the burden of proving or disproving the claims of each team lies on the opposite teams. So, for example, this has been brought up to me. If you say your statistics are bogus, it's up to you to argue whether you accept their claim that your statistics are bogus or not.
Yes.
Okay?
That was the
if
point
you
of
think
the
that
previous.
their claim that your statistics are invalid is not true, you should stand up for it and defend it. Same goes for you. If they claim that something they make a claim, it's up to you to decide whether to go along with their explanation or to defend it and counteract their point. Okay? It's not up to the audience, it's up to the teams. Then I guess we can resume.
No, wait a minute. In case they tell us our statistics are fake, it is up to us to show they are real or is
Exactly.
That's difficult.
It's up to you. Look, it's up to them. Look, it's up to them.
So the first one who asked the question is the most difficult.
Hold on. What I'm saying is, if they say they're fake, and everybody
Up to them to be
says,
responsible.
all right, I guess they're fake. It's fine. You're free, however, to say they're fake. Well, show me why they are fake. Show me why you think they're fake. Or counteract them by saying, well, we have proof that they are not fake. Okay? So this is what I'm saying.
So you need to address a statement or an opinion that they have a claim on toward you and the other way around. And also the team that has that claim needs to be responsible with that statement and with the claim. It's not for the sake of the argumentation in general of having the exchange, but it's for the sake of that when you make a statement and an argument in one situation, it is to be grounded, and you need to then be able to defend it in the same style. So, I think
Okay.
that's the logic of that.
Are there questions from the audience, or should I give questions to two teams as a primer? Questions? Yeah, okay, good. So let's start from the audience.
I would like to know how is the governance dynamic inside your ecosystem of companies? How is the governance dynamic inside the ecosystem of your companies?
Governance.
Structure of the corporate.
Who is making the decisions? If you are receiving money from a lot of financial instruments, which probably has part in your own decisions. So who are participating? You are receiving money from the government. Are your decisions shaped by the governance? Are you totally independent in your decision making? How is your governance?
No, actually, the structure of each company contains a group of people who are thinking and deciding the future of the company and how they deal with the money of the company and how they deal with the investment that they get from the government or other parties. So I think it has a very successful story because they are proving their idea is a very good idea. Actually, they are playing with the company, with the big, very investors like the USA, Denmark, and NASA. They are playing with the very big things. So that means that's a proof that their ideas are very successful and they are knowing what they are doing. So I think this is my only answer for you, and yeah, this is my point. Okay, I have a question for the other team.
Go for it.
Okay. First of all, we know our case and our battle title is we have to prove or disapprove that Elon Musk is a suitable person or unsuitable person to be the manager or the head of the project to live on the Mars. Okay? So,
No.
it's like this, something like this.
No. It's completely not like this.
Okay, maybe I didn't really will. To do something like this, and
whether he is an innovator,
yeah,
you
if he is an
remember, or
innovator,
whether he is someone that actually misused,
yes.
that is a fraudulent.
Sorry for that. I'm really a bit confused. Okay. You said our case, as the professor mentioned, and as I state, okay, and actually we have a lot of signs that this person is a very innovative. He's a very he has his own ideas, and he were able to prove them. How you can disapprove his ideas, and how you can say that all of his ideas, not his management, is very fake.
Can I ask? Okay, I will answer.
Please stand up when you speak.
I will ask something, then I answer. Okay, your ideas, are they feasible? How do I know if they're actually feasible? Narrow links, Hyperloop, I don't see it in 2017.
Okay.
How can I know it's actually going to work? The only thing work is Tesla, electric car, wow. A battery on a car. 200 years ago, people thought about that and actually did something. Now he's getting money, so he can do that.
Yes.
Reusable rockets. Okay, he tried, he landed sometimes. Okay, maybe it's doable. We don't know. We have to put people in there and see if it's safe.
Man, I think the parts.
I think we already answered that one. That
Okay, no SpaceX, the other ones. No SpaceX. Narrow links, Hyperloop, are they actually real stuff? Or I think I can fly, so I will fly.
For Hyperloop, Musk did the white paper, so he conceived the concept. And actually, if you know Richard Branson from the Virgin Empire, he invested in Hyperloop One, which is a company who is now testing this Hyperloop track, and he already did twice, and it's working.
But real or prototypes in miniature?
No, real. In Nevada. And there is also another company which is doing these Hyperloop transportation systems, I think, which has an agreement with the Indian government for a track of 30 kilometers. So they're actually building.
Okay.
There was also a question, observation coming from here. What about PayPal? I think this was the PayPal, right? You want
Very
to
real too.
Sorry?
PayPal is very real too.
Company.
Yes.
Real company. PayPal.
Yeah, but
It was
PayPal is
also
about,
funded by Elon Musk.
it wasn't his company.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it was.
No,
In the
he
beginning,
merged with another and he created something. Exists a company which had this online payment thing.
Let me tell you,
He combined with that one.
From the Wikipedia, Musk was with a person who was called Harris, who both were the president and CEO of X. In 2000, Harris left company because he thought PayPal is not going to progress. But Musk didn't lose hope and made it that in 2002 it made a big progress, and it was actually released as an international achievement. So how are you going to?
Whose was the idea, the original idea of PayPal?
As Wikipedia says, Elon Musk had the idea.
No, it doesn't say Elon Musk had the idea,
Because
but
he
he was the
didn't.
person who supported it.
Yeah.
And was
He
the
came
person.
and supported, but he didn't
Yes,
came up with
but
this
there are a
idea.
lot of ideas nowadays because they don't have a supporter, they're just dying. And if you're going to talk
So
about
he's a
failures,
supporter or
let me
the
finish.
one having an idea?
If you're talking about failures, that they fail, they do not make it, it's not his idea, it might be nice to say that the light we know about was achieved after 1,000 failures in Thomas Edison's progress. So if somewhere like you were
Okay,
there,
but that we
you
know
will
it
be
happened.
in the darkness.
But do we know that Neuralink happened? Do we know
What
how
happened?
it actually will happen? Do we know that? We know that light actually happened. But do we know if he actually gonna make it? He died.
If you were living on the age of establishing the first space rocket,
yes,
you will believe that it will be successful or not.
Yeah.
Will you believe? Just imagine you were
no,
at the year.
I was born later, so I know it's real.
No, you're not answering. You're not answering the question.
Like Iron Man, he's fantasy. So.
Yes.
You are making fictional hypotheses. We didn't see anything. We showed you the video about civilization.
You have the proof now.
Neuralink, you have proof from
No, for the SpaceX. You have the proof now. No, it's a proof.
Tesla is an electric car.
Okay, it's only an electric car. Electric cars exist.
But losing money and cost.
Tesla can't keep up with his own production. He promised 1,600 cars.
What happened after Tesla? A lot of other car manufacturers wanted to enter into the electric car market. Nissan is already on market. Mercedes wants to invest $10 billion for 10 new electric cars by the end of 2022. Volkswagen CEO said that he wants to become the leader in the electric cars production. And all of this came up with after the insertion of Tesla in the electric car market. Before there existed electric cars, but no one wanted to invest in that market. Tesla brought this new improvement. Yeah, he created this new whole market.
It's just it's like Steve Jobs. He made like this cool thing. He made the electric cars the cool thing, so they put money in it because there are money going on. But still, Nissan was first, and still it's the best selling worldwide. The Leaf is the best selling electric car. And yeah, he only has it's only because everyone is doing it now. He made it cool, but that's it. He's not doing anything.
But because it's cool, now people are investing. Yes. Before Tesla, it was for goofy people.
They are investing money that are getting wasted by Tesla. It's a cool guy.
No, they're investing in electric cars in general, not just Tesla.
And then what he wants...
Tesla is eating up a lot of those...
Okay, I have another proof. That the Tesla car is a very, very successful project. His inventions, he were putting them as an open source patent. That means anyone who has money and has manufactured or something like that, he can exploit his patents to create the same idea. And the proof is, there is a company in China or India, I don't remember, they were using his patent to create the cars, the same cars. So that means all of the people around the world, except you actually, they don't believe that the Tesla car is a successful project or not.
Can I answer something to that? Now Germany actually is making giving subsidies to electric cars companies, but they exclude actually Tesla. What's the reason? And the reason that Tesla is so expensive. So if we say about cars for everybody, it's not true because it's so expensive.
Okay. Rolls-Royce, it's a very big company and they're producing a lot of cars and they will not lose and they were not losing, but they are selling the cars more than $1 billion. So they are very successful.
That much cars, I would say.
Also, the new Tesla, as he told me, what?
One new Tesla?
$35,000.
So it's not.
Which one? Sorry.
It's not my judgment. It's the judgment of Germany, German government.
Sometimes the judgment goes wrong or goes.
But I think the German government is smarter than I am or you are. So I think they know why they put subsidies.
But they are also human. They can go wrong sometimes.
Okay, hold on. Question from the housekeeper.
Okay, it's weird. Tesla is making a good car, but it's not delivering. I just read before that the last quarter they had a net loss of 600 millions of
Because
dollars.
Panasonic didn't deliver the batteries.
They had a contract with Panasonic.
Yeah, but the trend is negative, first. A second, just let me finish. The second thing is that if I order a car as Tesla, the Model 3S, if I'm right, you're not getting it delivered because they produce more or less 3 per day, while other companies produce 20,000 cars for days. So if the market share of Tesla cars is 0.3% of all the cars, so it's very, very low. At the same point, at the same time, Ford, the F model, produced 10 times more cars in the same period, and also sold it. So it seems that this car is not. It is okay, revolutionary, but it's not arriving to the client, to the customers. So you can have the innovation, the idea, but if you don't bring the idea up to the client and they accept it and they buy it, you're not making any innovation.
Okay. You're not making any innovation. Okay.
Can I answer to you point in that? 25,000, okay. But what was the promise deliveries? Do you know it?
Okay.
Do you know? Okay, I can do till here, and it's at the top. If I don't see now, 5,000 is at the top. But I don't see how really is the promise delivered. How much is it? Do you know it?
Do you know how many models he thought they would have been selling?
Do you know how much the promise deliveries?
How many?
Because even if you stop here at 10,000, okay, it's at the top. But at the top of what? Okay.
I understand.
And I can answer before the break. She asked me about the laying of
But I
stuff.
have to answer your question before.
Just 2 seconds,
Okay.
so I don't forget. I looked for it on the internet, and he said what I was saying. He's giving Elon Musk some time to prove he's capable of selling cars.
It says over here that the market for electric cars is not competitive enough right now. So that's why they're giving everyone the room to bring their cars out in the market. And
Now,
so that
Tesla
it wasn't just Tesla, it's
it had to be
electric car
to
vehicles.
2020, and now they reduced to 2018.
Yeah, it's for everyone.
So it's actually okay. We talk about Tesla. Tesla is the main one. So he's bringing everybody down because of them.
Who's bringing everyone now?
They're doing the opposite effect because they don't sell cars. People stop buying cars. Governments stop giving money. So it's doing the opposite effect.
Why do you say that
of
Tesla is the
giving.
main one if you just said that Ford is the main one?
Sorry?
You just said
No,
that
no,
Ford-
I'm saying what you said. He's the top. I'm putting
We're
myself
not
as
saying that
your.
he's the top seven.
We never said that.
No, you say he's the main new creator of miners. So he's the representative.
No, we only said that
car.
he created interest for the market of electric cars. That before was considered as something for nerds.
Okay.
Have you seen the BMW i5, i7? They're really cool.
But
Before, did you show the Nissan you were talking about before Tesla?
But your model, you said
It's really hard.
35,000. Is it real? Is it actually going on the street now?
What?
The latest model of a Tesla car that is affordable. Is it real? Is it on the streets? Is it feasible? Where is it? The latest one costs a lot. I don't know the one.
Okay.
that's
Can I answer the questions now?
Yeah.
We just-
Yeah, answer.
According to your question about the investment, and the country is ending the contract with Tesla cars or with the person. Actually, it's a good sign. It's a good sign for his project successful or success. Because I'll tell you why. Because sometimes the contract says the investment will be ended investment. Okay, the investment will be ended if you were able to find another way to generate or to have money. So the Denmark government, they ended the contract or they ended the investment because they saw, they were able to observe that the Tesla cars or the idea that he has, it will be able to generate a lot of money, to have a lot of money.
Because they didn't sell anything after.
No, they sell. They sell a lot of things. This is a proof of what? I can't tell you.
Exactly.
They were able to reduce the negative income. This is a good sign for selling a lot of money, for selling a lot of products. That means after a meanwhile, let's say 5, 10 years, he will be able, no man. First of all, you will be able to earn money and to win money after you can end your negative income. So this is a good sign that he's in current situation, he's reducing the negative income. He's reducing the minus thing and he will be able to go to the positive amount of money.
All right. So I wanted to, and that we
the
go.
income is going down. This was already in the slides.
Yes.
It's going down every year.
Mhm.
And it's still losing money and the, that's
Okay.
one. It's going down. He had to present the new roster and the new truck, and he got money now to get the cars in 2020 because he needs money. There are papers that say that he will run out of money in 2018.
Okay, you were also showing some other ones before?
Yeah, like I am not the only one that thinks that electric cars are not the future.
Why?
Barcelona is not like.
Why are the electric cars not the future?
That's a really hard question to answer.
All right.
And,
You are only making the statement based on what is in the. Okay. Yeah.
The only person who said it's not a solution for auto cars is Marchioni, but we have 4 companies. They are doing the same idea of him, and we have a new company. It's producing the same idea with the same patent of him.
Yeah, but there are not 5 companies.
So 5 over 1, which is.
But there are many others. That are
Okay. Okay. What is your? And then we need to go to the final statements. Okay. So you were.
What does the company work for? Do you know, everyone? What does the company work for? I think it's shareholder. If you are a shareholder, you want to earn money from this company. And we already showed this picture. The Tesla didn't earn any money from the market. And long ago, Tesla is just one company who wants to create self-driving car, and now already have so many companies and Benz and Audi. So many companies want to create a self-driving car. Like Audi has already like new technology. So how could Tesla sell so much car? There are so many companies do a competition with you. How could you sell more?
All right. So thank you. Now we will go into. You take a couple of minutes to prepare your final statements.
He said his final statement, or he asked a question.
Was this your final statement?
No, it's a question.
No, it was a question.
Can I answer?
Okay, answer, then we go. But quickly.
First of all, we have to say, let's assume that he's a very loser person in money management. But it's not a very proof that he's a very loser in creativity. This is the first point. The other point, he's not the only person. He's not the only person inside the company who will decide the future of the company, because he has a lot of critical minds people to work with him to decide the future of the company, to invest his money.
Do you know this stuff?
Yeah, it's a company, man. The university contains a lot of
I
critical
read that
minds.
he's
So-
really egocentric, so he actually is really tough on people.
No, it's not like this. Let's assume that you proved he's a very failure person in money management, but you didn't prove that he's a failure person in innovation. This is the point. This is my answer.
All right, thank you. Okay, so now take a couple of minutes, and you make the final statements. In the meantime, I would like to say a few things with regards to the next 2 weeks. So the way we will proceed is we will have the following Monday a wrap up. We will have the class. So we will have a wrap up of what we've been covering up to now. It's only on Monday. On Tuesday we don't have class. And then on the Monday after, there will be a class on social innovation and social entrepreneurship. And on Tuesday, for those who want, only for those who want, there will be consulting on answering questions on the exam.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that was to cover all of the grounds you might have for the different elements of the exam. Yes.
When we will receive the assignment of writing the report?
You will receive the assignment for writing the individual.
Yeah.
The individual one. We will give it on Monday.
On Monday.
Okay.
Next Monday, you will have all of it. So you will have, like 1 week to think about, to discuss
The
this.
plan is 11 class.
11 class, 12 no.
Class, 18 class, 19 optional. Okay?
All right.
But we will send an email to summarize this anyway.
Yeah, just so that you know.
Sorry, they.
Okay, sorry. Yes, I will tell you now. I will tell you now. And you have 5 minutes now to. I want to finish 5 minutes before 4 because I want to tell you something about another time. Are you ready to go?
It's stuck over there. According to the
No problem. No problem. I sign it for you. I know.
Okay, thank you.
I check by my side.
Okay, let's start. Can we have your attention? Okay.
Okay. So, they're talking about an innovative man. Means he has an idea and realize it, and he's actually practical in the world. But none of his ideas are actually his. Electric car, reusable rocket, Neuralinks, Hyperloop, ideas that already existed. So, not his ideas. You said his inspiration are comics books. So Hulk, Dots, all things that are fantasy. Like many of these Neuralink stuff, we don't know if it's actually gonna happen. Plus, having an idea doesn't mean actually I can do it. Because I can think I can fly one day, but maybe it's not feasible. And up to now, we don't see any proof of that. We saw just a car, an electric car running. We saw a reusable rocket, yes, but the other stuff are actually going to happen. An electric car already existed. So.
Don't restart the debate.
And that's it. So he's not bringing anything innovative. He just knows how to get money and build stuff. And we don't know if it actually is going to work. Probably. Thanks.
This one?
Just have to speak very loudly.
Okay, so basically today the purpose of the battle was to debate on whether Elon Musk is an innovative and intelligent person or not. The other team just focused on one company, Tesla, and how its financials are not feasible currently. And there were no arguments from them against the vision. Elon Musk has time and time again proved by his projects that that his ideas and everything crazy that he thinks of is actually feasible and doable, and he has actually done all of that, and those things are actually working, like the SpaceX examples that we showed. I would like to say that how can you judge if one man is innovative or not, or creative or not, on the basis of one company's financial status? And in the end, like someone very wise once said, only the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world, they actually do it. Thank you.
All right. In the exam, you have 3 parts. You have the report on the battles, which is team report. Then you have individual assignments, which we will tell you about next Monday. And the third part, the third element, is related to blending. And since the group is actually bigger than being relevant, like we tried in the beginning, and it wasn't the best delivery of working with the platform. So what we decided to do is, I would like to ask you, you will work on a 1-page assignment, which will be on the platform, which is a response, critical response on your side, critical view, in the sense, there are 4 cases, you can choose any one you want of these 4 cases. It's on e-waste, on cars, on 2 other subjects, okay? So once you go on the platform, we will give you instructions. You choose one of the cases and you write a 1-page statement, opinion, position from you on that case. Given that we've been talking about entrepreneurship, innovation, the visionary approach, what does one make, what are the qualities that make an entrepreneur, how do we evaluate innovations, where we want to put our preferences or our position on whether this potential or new industry has a future or not. Okay, it's more on your personal opinion statement on how you view these industries that are coming up. All right, 4 cases. So this would be the individual assignment for the blending, and this will be, joined with the other written work. It's 1-pager. It's nothing too, dramatic, and I think you can actually do a great job on this. So thank you, and see you next Monday.